In 1970, Pelé's Brazil secured their third world title. Under the statutes established by Jules Rimet, that victory granted them permanent ownership of the original trophy, effectively retiring it from competition. As West Germany prepared to host the 1974 tournament, FIFA faced a logistical problem. They needed a new physical prize to define the competition's identity for the coming decades. They selected a design by Italian artist Silvio Gazzaniga as the new standard of global supremacy. Gazzaniga's sculpture moved away from the traditional image of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Instead, it depicted two human figures in a moment of athletic effort, supporting the weight of the earth. To ensure this trophy remained a unifying symbol, FIFA decreed it would never again be awarded in permanent ownership. The original stays in Zurich, while winners receive a gold-plated replica. This rule shift allowed FIFA to maintain total control over the trophy's image, creating a consistent brand that has lasted for 50 years. The tournament also introduced a parallel shift in material design, the Adidas Telstar Durlast match ball. Its 32-panel geometry was engineered for the modern broadcast. The high-contrast black-and-white pattern provided a sharp tracking image for the global audience watching on color television for the first time. The Durlast model featured a new polyurethane coating. This innovation repelled water, preventing the ball from absorbing moisture in the rain-soaked German climate. 1974 also marked the first time that commercial logos were visibly printed on the match balls, moving the equipment into the realm of explicit sponsorship. These changes in hardware and branding served as the foundation for a tournament that redefined the tactical and commercial standards of the professional game. The 1974 format replaced traditional knockout quarterfinals with a second three-match group phase. This meant teams had to maintain high performance over two separate round robins to reach the final. Group 1 became a focal point of Cold War tensions, placing host nation West Germany in the same bracket as socialist East Germany. On June 22 in Hamburg, the two captains met at midfield for the only official World Cup match between the divided nations. In the 77th minute, Jürgen Sparwasser scored on a counterattack, securing a 1-0 victory for East Germany. The result was a propaganda success for the East, but it benefited the West strategically. By finishing second, West Germany avoided a second-round group of death containing Argentina, Brazil, and the Netherlands. In Group 2, Zaire competed as the first sub-Saharan African team to qualify, facing extreme domestic pressure from the regime of Mobutu Sese Seko. During their match against Brazil, defender Mwepu Alunga famously sprinted out of a defensive wall to kick a free kick away before it could be taken. While some observers interpreted the move as a misunderstanding of the rules, Alunga later revealed it was a deliberate attempt to waste time and disrupt the play. The squad had been threatened with violence by Mobutu if they lost by more than 4 goals. Alunga's act was a desperate tactic to avoid a larger defeat and ensure the players could return home safely. While some teams fought for survival, the Netherlands introduced a philosophy that prioritized spatial control, total football. Before 1974, most teams played in rigid, specialized roles. Players were largely expected to remain within specific horizontal zones on the pitch. The Dutch utilized a compact block that moved in unison. By pushing their entire team up the pitch, they squeezed the space available to the opponent, forcing immediate turnovers. They used a principle of termuta, or positional exchange. When a defender joined the attack, a teammate instantly dropped back to cover the space, maintaining the team's structural balance. By holding a very high defensive line, they used the offside trap as an offensive tool, effectively pushing the entire game into the opponent's half. This system required every outfield player to be technically proficient in all phases of the game: defending, creating, and finishing. Johan Cruyff served as the on-pitch catalyst, playing as a false 9 who roamed across the entire attacking front. By dropping deep or moving wide, Cruyff pulled his markers out of position. This created open lanes for his teammates to run into, making the Dutch attack impossible to track with traditional man-marking. Poland similarly dominated Group 4, using high-velocity transitions and the goal scoring of Gregors Lato to dismantle established powers like Italy and Argentina. Through these fluid spatial tactics, the leading European teams of 1974 made traditional, static positioning obsolete. This newfound autonomy on the pitch soon manifested as commercial leverage off of it. The Dutch national team was officially sponsored by Adidas, whose branding featured 3 distinct stripes on the jersey sleeves. However, Johan Cruyff held a lucrative personal endorsement deal with Puma, Adidas' direct rival. Cruyff refused to wear the 3 stripes of a competing brand, creating the standoff with his own federation on the eve of the tournament. The federation was forced to provide Cruyff with a custom-manufactured kit featuring only 2 stripes, allowing him to bypass the Adidas branding while remaining in the squad. This was the first time a superstar player successfully forced a national team to modify its kit for his own commercial interests. The 2-stripe jersey established a new precedent in the sport. It proved that an elite player's personal brand could exert more influence than the commercial contracts and the national institution. While the Dutch advanced with flair, West Germany had to navigate a critical second-round match against Poland that would decide which team reached the final. On July 3rd in Frankfurt, a sudden and severe rainstorm completely flooded the Waldstadion just before kickoff. The conditions drastically changed the physics of the game. Puddles on the grass meant the ball would stop dead during low passes, making it impossible to play with technical speed. This neutralized Poland's primary advantage. Their high-velocity, ground-based passing game was rendered ineffective by the standing water. West Germany adapted by playing a more physical, direct game, focusing on winning individual duels in the mud rather than relying on tactical combinations. In the 76th minute, Gerd Müller found a rare opening in the wet penalty area and scored the only goal of the match. Poland won the third-place match, but Germany's pragmatic adaptation to the flooded pitch in Frankfurt had secured their place in the grand final. The final at the Munich Olympiastadion was the ultimate test between the revolutionary tactics of the Netherlands and the disciplined structure of West Germany. It was a matchup of styles, the fluid, unpredictable movement of total football against a German team built on physical efficiency. From the opening whistle, the Dutch moved the ball for 16 consecutive passes. Not a single German player touched the ball until Cruyff was fouled in the box for a penalty. Johan Neeskens scored in the 2nd minute, recording the fastest goal in a World Cup final. However, the early lead led the Dutch to decrease their intensity, allowing West Germany time to reorganize their defensive lines. The Germans adjusted by tasking Bertie Vogts with a relentless man mark of Johan Cruyff, successfully limiting the playmaker's influence for the rest of the game. Captain Franz Beckenbauer then utilized his role as an offensive libero to bypass the Dutch press and organize attacks from the back. This structural shift allowed West Germany to regain control. Goals from Paul Breitner and Gerd Müller gave them a 2-1 lead before halftime. The German victory was supported by a pre-existing chemistry. 5 members of the starting lineup played together for Bayern Munich, providing a foundation of familiarity that the Dutch could not break. West Germany lifted the new trophy, but the 1974 tournament established the modern standard for the entire sport. The high-press tactics, the commercialized equipment, and the focus on player branding continue to define professional football 50 years later.